I didn't sleep good last night. But I'm here like a trooper, not to miss Toastmasters for a small reason like that. Actually, the title of my speech is ARC. Not ARC, but ARC. What is ARC? ARC is a term that I learned in Scientology, and it means friendliness. For instance, for an example, if someone were, let's say a Scientology friend of mine were to have had lunch with a non-Mormon, I would expect him to come to me and say, you know that a non? It's got a lot of ARC. Just means like a friendly type of person, someone you like to be around, that kind of stuff. So why am I going to talk to you guys about it? You're not Scientologists. Well, the good news is you don't have to be a Scientologist in order to use this data. ARC, as you may have guessed already, is a word formed of 3 letters, A, R, and C. It's represented up here in a triangle, A, R, C. And A is actually the word of the day, affinity. Affinity means the degree of liking for something. It also could represent the tolerance for distance. In other words, if you like something a lot or somebody a lot, you want to be as close to them as you can. I mean, if you really liked Linda a lot, you're probably not going to sit in the back row. You'd probably try to get up here right next to her. And if you hated somebody a lot, you probably wouldn't want to be in the same room, or maybe the same state, maybe even the same planet as them. In which case, you could have been said to have very low ARC, very low affinity. Now, that brings us to the R corner of the triangle. R stands for reality. What is reality? Reality is agreement. Reality is what we agree upon. For instance, my opinion is that probably everybody here would agree that we are in creative room 1 at a Toastmasters meeting. We would probably all agree that it's 12:15. We'd probably all agree, unless you're colorblind, that I have a purple shirt on today. That is reality. It's also kind of interesting because if a person has an unusual experience, perhaps they saw a little green Martian standing up here next to me. Maybe Subin saw that. But if he wasn't so sure that everybody else saw it, he might not be too interested in volunteering that information. Because people who don't agree with the rest of us, we generally send them off to the funny farm somewhere. Say they're seeing things. All right, most important part of this triangle is C. C stands for communication. And the reason C is so important, and the reason that this whole ARC triangle can be useful to us all, is that if we can raise any one of these corners of the triangle, increase it, then the other side, the other 2 corners will also increase. And obviously, another word for ARC break would be an upset. So if you're upset about something, or if you're upset with somebody, or somebody is upset with you, maybe you don't know why they're upset, but they have had a break in reality, a break in affinity, or a break in communication. This also, the ARC also goes together as up here. The U stands for understanding. So So if somebody's upset with you, they have a break in affinity, a break in reality, a break in communication, or a break in understanding. Communication is obviously the key to discover what it is. Like if Subin is all of a sudden, he's not talking to me. We're best friends. But all of a sudden, it's like he gets real quiet. You may have had that with a spouse or a boyfriend or a girlfriend. You know that they're upset. Usually they don't want to say what it is. You got to use that communication to work it out of them. But once you get them to state what the upset is, generally that handles it. With the exception of if they have a whole string of these things, there were earlier similar upsets, then that won't handle it. You would actually have to go back into get the earlier upsets if you wanted to get them to a state of relief where they weren't being bothered by these upsets. I was watching the singing show last night, The Voice. Anybody see that? It was funny. I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm thinking, wow, these guys got to get up there in front of all these people, all the judges, TV audience, and I never saw one of them screw up yet. Like forget the words of the song. Sometimes I forget the words to the Pledge of Allegiance, much less my speech or a song. Last night, almost like I jinxed them, almost right after I had that thought, the microphone went out. Here's this girl singing, and you can't hear anything. It's like she's just moving her mouth, but you couldn't hear the words. So she did a very good job, though, and came through it. Just kept going until somebody ran up there and gave her another mic, and she finished the song. But see, that would have been an R break. Her reality or her agreement with existence was that the microphone was going to work and she was going to sing well. But in this case, she didn't really get upset. She handled it like a Toastmaster and charged right on through. So this is the story of ARC. You guys can use it usually if you're upset, and you could locate the reason you're upset, one of these three things. And if somebody else is upset, you can use it to talk to them and try to restore your ARC, your affinity, and your relationship with that person. So with much ARC, I would like to invite the Toastmaster back up here.